I'm Ted Keys in Pasadena, California. Welcome to my Tuesday conference call, a free high-powered meeting I hold live every Tuesday for top producing freight agents. Go to tedkeysonline.com for complete call information. Then join us weekly to see new, serious, struggling, and experienced sales professionals move more freight efficiently, effectively, effortlessly, and make more money financially. So watch my recorded call topic highlighted there on your screen right now. When you're finished, go to tedkeysonline.com and hear more podcasts. Read more blog posts, watch more videos, and while you're there, visit my Freight Sales Success Store for top-notch freight moving products to explode your business today. Enjoy watching and applying my Tuesday conference call.
Hello and welcome again, everybody, to my Tuesday conference call, a call that I do every Tuesday to direct you, to assist you, to guide you into moving more freight, move it more productively, efficiently, proficiently, any efficiently that you want to mention. Today's topic is, as I said, how to get past the gatekeeper. Let me say that again, how to get past the gatekeeper. As usual, every Tuesday I send out my emails announcing the call. I provide you with a number of attachments. If you scroll down to those attachments, you will see that the very first attachment on there is our May 2015 leaderboard. May 2015 leaderboard. That is a leaderboard of all the agents that are actively moving freight with the Green Meadows Productions office. Again, your goal every month is to get your name on this leaderboard. Not only does it show you what you're doing in conjunction to everybody else, but it's showing you that you have the ability to move freight and move it in the facets that I explained earlier. So, May 2015 leaderboard. Okay, let's X out of there and get into our call. Let's go ahead and open up that second attachment that I sent everybody. Second attachment that I sent everybody, titled 10 Tips for Getting Past the Gatekeeper. A how, basically, to get past the gatekeeper. What is the gatekeeper? You're visualizing like a cemetery with somebody standing at the gate, these iron gates that's opening and closing the gates. Well, in our profession, we encounter the gatekeeper. The gatekeeper is this. The gatekeeper is the individual that answers the phone at that company when we first call them. That can be the president. It could be the janitor. We don't know. But let me just read on here and give you a simple description of the gatekeeper. Successful freight sales agents become familiar real quickly with the gatekeeper. That's the individual whose job it is to prevent people from getting access to the shipping decision maker. Well, what a thought. I mean, here we are, we're calling a company, we just feel that we're just going to automatically breeze through to the shipping decision maker, but 9 times out of 10, we have to get past the gatekeeper. The gatekeeper is typically a personal assistant or secretary. In some companies, it's the receptionist or switchboard operator. Below are the 10 tips. The 10 tips to get past the gatekeeper and reach your desired destination every single time. So let's go over these 10 tips to get past the gatekeeper. Now, why do we want to get past the gatekeeper? Because that's what the gatekeeper does. The gatekeeper allows you in and out of the cemetery, out of the gate, whatever it is. But in our case, the gatekeeper either stops you from going forward or allows you to go forward to your shipping decision maker. Here's tip number 1 to get past the gatekeeper, and that is when you make your call, your prospecting call, remember the gatekeeper is not your enemy. Whoever's acting as a gatekeeper between you and the shipping decision maker is just doing their job. Remember that. They're just doing their job. So part of that job is managing demands on the shipping decision maker's time. So if you see the gatekeeper as the enemy, it's going to create a self-imposed psychological barrier that will be difficult, if not impossible, to remove if and when you view them as the enemy. Just first of all, expect to be talking to the gatekeeper every time you make a prospecting call. View them as just somebody that you're going to have communication with before you actually get to the shipping decision maker. And remember, they are not your enemy. Tip number 2 is when you do call and you run into the gatekeeper, sound like you're a senior manager. Sound like you're a senior manager. When you get on the call and they answer, don't, who am I, what is my company name, how old am I? No ums, no ahs, no wells. Management never gets treated the same as the workers. Remember that. Remember that. If someone believes that you're an important person, you'll get treated differently. So, use the relaxed and calm voice, speak slowly and articulately, don't divulge more than is necessary during the opening seconds of your conversation. If the gatekeeper senses that you're their senior, they won't risk offending you by probing too deeply. Let me just say this again. Everybody has this tendency, well, not everybody, but most people have this tendency to just stall out when they call and they're talking to somebody that they're not familiar with, especially if they've done this many, many times. Well, what you're going to learn is the more like you sound like you know what you're talking about, the more the gatekeeper will take you seriously. And if you sound like a senior manager, somebody that's up in any type of company, you'll be taken seriously even more. So, sound like a senior manager. 1 second. Tip number 3, the gatekeeper is a wealth of knowledge. One more time. Tip number 3, the gatekeeper is a wealth of knowledge. Believe it or not, while the gatekeeper's role is to restrict interruptions to the shipping decision maker's daily routine, they do know a great deal of important information about the shipping decision maker and their business. So, what do? Use this opportunity to check that the person that you want to speak to actually is the shipping decision maker. Check your facts with them. Ask simple, non-intrusive, open-ended questions to build up a picture of both the gatekeeper and the shipping decision maker. Here's an example. Can you put me through to shipping? Who's calling? This is Ted from Logistic Dynamics. What's the purpose of your call? The purpose of my call is to speak to your shipping decision maker. Who is that? See how I phrase that in the form of a question? Who is that? Tip number 4, and that is very important. Don't sell to the gatekeeper. Number 4 again is don't sell to the gatekeeper. The gatekeeper has several distinct powers. One of them is the power to connect you to the right person. However, they typically don't hold any decision-making powers. When the gatekeeper asks, can I tell him or her what it's regarding, don't pitch your shipping service to them. First, it'll waste your time, again, because they don't have those types of powers. Second, it'll irritate them, and now they'll be waiting for the opportunity to tell you that they are not able to help you. So simply put, don't be desperate to connect with the shipping decision maker, for one, nor attempt to sell to the gatekeeper. Don't sell to the gatekeeper. Tip number 5 is engage them. Don't try running away, or don't run away from them. Don't Don't ease your way around them or sneak around them. Don't be awkward, as I said, and try to sneak past the gatekeeper. There's a high probability that you'll get cut off at the knees. So what do? You actively engage with the gatekeeper. Don't get too personal or pry with them. However, you can gently probe. If you don't get to the shipping decision maker right away, engage the gatekeeper so they have a positive and friendly attitude toward you when you call there again. Because remember, this is not the last time you're going to call there. You're unlikely to become best friends, but building a relationship and rapport with them will help them to want to help you or assist you. So, tip number 5, engage them. Don't evade them or attempt to sneak around them. Let's move on, folks. Let's move on to tip number 6. Tip number 6 is easy does it. Easy does it. Mainly chill out, take your time. If you're nervous, stressed, or tense, you'll transfer those feelings right to your voice, behavior, and the choice of words that you use. All of this makes an impact on the gatekeeper and how they will perceive you, and therefore how they'll receive your requests for access or information. So what do? Just take some deep, slow, quiet breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth, and put yourself at ease. When the gatekeeper answers, smile and confidently greet them with ease. Here's the main thing that you must remember. They will not bite you. I'll say it again. They won't bite you. So, if you know that somebody's not going to bite you, hit you, scream at you, what do you have to be nervous about? So, when you make that call, take it easy. Easy does it. Tip number 7, guys, is plan and don't script. Plan and don't script. Unless you're a great actor, don't use a script on the gatekeeper. They're likely to hear the scripted tone in your voice. Instead, plan on how you'll approach them. One of the main things that I tell you when I train you, when we go over the sales information sheet, is, yes, there are a number of questions in the middle of that sheet. The most important questions that you can ask any shipping decision maker. Of course, you have to get past the gatekeeper first, but I tell you, don't script these. Ask them in your own way, in your own tone of voice. So don't be scripted when you speak to the gatekeeper. As I said earlier, they're likely to hear that scripted tone in your voice. Instead, plan on how you'll approach them. What approaches you take depends on the range of responses that they may make. And, hey, not every gatekeeper is the same, so remember that. Plan your responses to key objections that the gatekeeper may give you. However, leave yourself room for improvising your dialogue. Leave yourself room. Again, be ready, be flexible when you're speaking with the gatekeeper. Tip number 8 is, what is your transitive verb? Let me say that again. What is your transitive verb? What does that mean, a transitive verb? Well, do you know that while you're speaking to anyone, especially the gatekeeper, you're consciously or unconsciously employing a transitive verb to do something to them? Believe it or not, that is the truth. A transitive verb is an action word that's vocalized to someone, such as to charm, to amuse, or to press. Those are just some basic examples. So, in oral communications, verbs are used as tactics to get results from other people. So, it's essential that you be in control of the words that you're speaking. Think about the words that you say throughout your conversation with them. So, basically, a transitive verb is something that they're going to pick up on. They're going to say, oh boy, who's this guy? I don't know who he is. This is the first time he's calling me. Is he here? Is he calling me to charm me, to amuse me, to press me? You want to give the feeling that you're calling and they've heard you call there before. Give them the feeling that they've heard you call there before. Tip number 9, guys, is when they come back to you with, is he or she expecting your call? Let me say that again. Is he or she expecting your call? Now, this question is largely irrelevant because you want to speak to the shipping decision maker nonetheless. That is your main goal, okay? However, in order to bypass the gatekeeper, use this shipping decision's first name only when you actually have it. If you call up there and you know the shipping decision maker's name is John, well, when they ask you who's calling, who you calling for, this is Ted, I'm calling for John. Okay? Don't and ah. Is he or she expecting your call? Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Now, what do you do when you don't know the shipping decision maker's name? Well, let's go on. Let's go on. Ask, can I speak to Jenny, please? Ask, can I speak to John, please? It sounds more like a personal call. Act like, as I said earlier, like they know who it is that you're talking about. Remember, your goal is to not inform the gatekeeper. Your goal is to bypass them and get to the shipping decision maker. So next, they may ask, is she expecting your call? Simply reply like this. Simply reply this or with something similar. Yes, I sent them some information recently, and we need to discuss it before close of business today. If this is the second time you're calling, you did send them something. You sent him that email template that I went over with you during our training session. So you did send him something. And yes, in your mind, you have to talk about it by the end of business today. So, what am I getting at? What I'm getting at is you're telling the truth. You're not saying anything derogatory or not truth. In your mind, you've got to talk about this by the end of today. Tip number 10, the last tip is, this is the last solution that you will use if you must. And that is, it's not the best solution, however, ask if you can be put through to the shipping decision maker's voicemail when that's your last option. As in a regular sales environment, quickly point out a benefit for the gatekeeper for doing this. If they say that the shipping decision maker is out to lunch or in a meeting and you've already called several times, point out that you've already taken a lot of their time and ask if they can put you through the voicemail to save bothering them further. So that's your last solution. The last solution is, can you put me through to their voicemail? All right. And here's another a good tip. If you don't know who the shipping decision maker is, and you ask for the shipping manager when you call there, and they say they're not in, your first line out of your mouth is, can you put me through their voicemail? Can you put me through their voicemail? Again, this is for one that you don't know. There's a high probability when they actually put you through to their voicemail that individual is going to say their name. Hey, this is John. Hey, this is Bill. Hey, this is Sue. I'm not in right now, something along those lines. So that's a good thing when you say, can you put me through to their voicemail? So, in review, 10 tips for getting past the gatekeeper. Number 1, the gatekeeper is not your enemy. 2, sound like a senior manager. 3, the gatekeeper is a wealth of knowledge and information. 4, don't sell to the gatekeeper. Number 5, engage them and do not avoid or evade them. Number 6, take it easy when you call. Easy does it. They won't bite you. Number 7 is plan and don't script, so they realize that you're a professional and that you know what you're talking about. Number 8, what's your transitive verb? How are you coming across in the words that you use? Number 9, remember what to say when they say, is he or she expecting your call? Number 10, the last solution that you have is, yes, put me through to their voicemail. Now, I will say this. 95 out of 100 calls that I make when I'm actually prospecting, I get right by the gatekeeper. Why? Because I do enough research. There's a high probability that I already know what lane they're doing or what load they may be working on or where they ship out of or where they ship to. So when I make a call and I get the gatekeeper, they're going to say, who's calling? I'm going to say, this is Ted. I'm with Logistic Dynamics. They'll say, what's it in reference to? I'll say, I'm calling in reference to the widgets that you haul from Birmingham to Orlando. I'm calling in reference to the widgets that you haul from Birmingham to Orlando. Okay? Do they make widgets? Let's just say they do. But this is an actual load. How do I know it? Because of connections, because of a load I just did. I'm not going into this totally blind. There is a lot of information that I already know. How do I know it? Because I move a lot of freight. And as you get better and better, you'll be able to use the same tactics, and it'll be much more easier, free. I won't say free, but just so much more easier as you make the calls, as you put forth the effort to get past the gatekeeper. 1 second. Okay, 10 tips to get past the gatekeeper. Very, very important information. Let's go ahead and X out of there. Let's go over some selling points. Some selling motivations that will get you past the gatekeeper. Let's go ahead and open up that third attachment. And that is, guys, remember when you're calling your prospects and customers, never, ever settle for good enough. Always put in that little extra. Always make the phone call instead of sending out the email. Let me say that again, just a great example. Always call instead of sending out the email. I'll say it now. I'll continue to say it. A call beats an email every time. Do that little extra. Always put in that little extra and never, ever settle for average or just good enough. If you're going to be successful in this profession, it's not because you were good enough. It's because you continually put in that little extra. That applies to everything else that we do in life. Let's go ahead and move forward. Move forward to our next document, that fourth one, and that is, guys, remember when you're calling your prospects and customers, if you must doubt anything, then here's the answer. Doubt your limitations. Don't doubt the probabilities. Don't doubt thinking that I'm not good enough. If anything, doubt your limitations. Have doubt on those. When you start doubting your limitations, your actual talents and skills will start shining through. So remember, when you're calling your prospects and customers, if you must doubt anything, then doubt your limitations. And as I said earlier in this call, stop listening to the lies in your head. Just throw them aside, pick up the phone, and make the call. Stop listening to the lies, the garbage, all that excess that's going on in your mind, telling you that you're not good enough. Hey, what about that last call where you didn't get through? Just throw it aside and pick up the phone. Go the extra mile. Go the extra step. Just do it. Let's go ahead and open up our next attachment, and this goes in line with what I just said. Remember when you're calling your prospects and customers, and that is just do it. Not only just do it, but do it now. If you're going to get any type of results in anything you do, you have to exert energy and effort. And this profession is no different. And it's all going to be commensurate on the amount of effort that you put in. So just work this thought into your mind. Just do it, and do it now. I mean, how many times have we heard this saying? I'll say it again. Just do it, and do it now. Let's go ahead and X out of there and open up our next topic or our next line. And that reads, guys, remember, When you're calling your prospects and customers, you'll never be rejected again when you pinpoint something positive from every call. Very, very important. Every call that you make, whether good or bad, stop thinking about the mistakes or the errors that you made, because I will guarantee you that something positive came out of the call that you just made. If anything, if there's one thing positive that you did, you actually picked up the phone, you made a phone call, and you actually spoke to somebody. So remember, you'll never be rejected again when you pinpoint something positive from every call. And here's what's going to happen. Every call you make, every call you continue to make, every call that's going to stretch your skill, stretch your tensile strength, you're going to start developing something positive. You're going to start developing, and you will develop positive skills. So you won't be rejected like I get when I make my calls. Let's go ahead and finish up with the last document that I sent you folks, and that is remembering when you're calling your prospects and customers that your sales rewards are in direct proportion to what you wager. Remember, when calling prospects and customers one more time, your sales rewards are in direct proportion to what you wager. Your rewards are in direct proportion to what you throw out there. It's the faith that you have in yourself, again, to pick up the phone. And really, you're taking a risk. You're taking a risk of somebody, objecting you, rejecting you, whatever it is. But you will never gain any rewards if you don't wager anything. And here's the positive thing, or the direct truth here. Your rewards are always in direct proportion to the risk or the wager that you put out there. It's called what you put out there, that's what you're going to get back. As you put more out there, your skills increase, and your wagers become bigger and bigger. Your rewards become larger and larger. Great topic today. Main topic, 10 tips for getting past the gatekeeper. Very important for all the newbies out there, the folks that are just starting in this profession. Okay, any of you folks on the line that have a strong desire to be a top-performing freight sales professional that's looking for the best training out there, I'm your person to speak to. My number is 626-309-9141. If you got any questions involving our topic today, again, 10 tips for getting past the gatekeeper. Call that same number. Ask for me, Ted Keys, at 626-309-9141. Another quick announcement is, for those of you that have access to our top-notch, top-of-the-line, top-of-the-industry LDI freight system, any questions involving utilizing it, posting loads, covering loads, getting loads in motion, getting them delivered, call that same number, 626-309-9141. You'll ask to speak to Maria or our assistant, Marilyn. Great topic for today, guys. Again, I'll say it. Your rewards are directly related to what you wager. So get on the phone, increase your skills. People love to talk to folks who are professional and provide the service that they promise. God bless you all for coming today. Take care. We'll speak to you next week on my Tuesday conference call.
You've just taken a tremendous step forward by watching and applying my Tuesday conference call highlight. Do you desire to earn and learn with our top freight team and Christian-based office? Yes? We're searching for a self-starter who's serious, motivated, and ready to take action right now. Is that you? Go to tedkeysonline.com/contacts and enter your contact details. We provide top-notch freight agent sales training to you. Then you deliver those same skills with confidence to the freight industry marketplace. I'll talk to you soon.